Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Let's Discuss with Missymak. I'm going to let the person that I'll be speaking to today, I will let him introduce himself. So if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Okay, well, my name is Jeff. I've worked in IT as a career from the early 80s right up to around 2015.
Right, I'm going to just pause you there before you continue, because I'm just going to
Yeah,
let everybody know what we're going to be talking about. So just remember that what he said that he has done, okay, what Jeff said he has done. Now, as you know, I said I'll be talking about various things with people who are willing to share. And today we're going to be focusing specifically on retirement. However, Jeff's case is a little bit different. And so he will tell you more about that. Back over
yeah,
to you, Jeff.
thank you. Well, from my perspective, I think I don't consider myself to be actually retired because it wasn't a case of I had been working at the same employer for the odd 30, 40 years, whatever it is now, and perhaps received a letter, an email, a tap on shoulder to say, Jeff, right, now you're 60 or 65, and that's our policy now is to retire you. So it was none of that. Um, so I don't actually consider myself retired.
So
When
would
people
you say
have
you're
asked me,
semi-retired?
yes, I would consider I describe myself as semi-retired because it's not my intention to go back into full-time working. Fortunately, um, I don't have these sort of financial commitments, which I know a lot of people would have, and would mean that they would still be continue working. When I stopped full-time working, I was in my mid-50s when I stopped full-time working, but it wasn't because I retired. It was just how the circumstances unfolded.
Okay, okay. So when we don't have to really go into all the details as to why and whatever, the reason why you
Yeah,
stopped working. But when you stopped working, was finance a consideration for you? Did you have concerns regarding finance? Or maybe you had different concerns about time on your hands and what to do with your time?
well, from a financial point of view, I didn't really have to consider that because I did have some money behind me. And maybe my experiences working in the corporate world is different from perhaps working for central or local government or working in the public sector where you probably spend all of your life working in the public sector. For me, in the corporate world, I had already been made redundant once.
Right, okay.
So the circumstances that I arrived at where I'm not working full time now arrived by means of myself taking voluntary redundancy with an intention to go back into probably full time working.
Okay.
But as events unfolded, it didn't actually happen that way.
Right. Okay. So it really wasn't your intention to retire because you did intend to go into something else. Um and
Yeah, again, sorry to interrupt. Again, I don't consider myself as being retired.
yeah.
But given the length of time, I haven't. I've done. I've been working on a partial basis. And being of an age, I consider myself semi-retired, or that's what I say to people.
Right. Okay. Yes. Yes. Semi-retired. Because obviously, if you were in your 50s when you stopped working, really, some people do retire at 50. Some people retire in their mid 50s, but it
Yeah,
really wasn't your intention. So maybe some of the fears that people might have on retirement because they've been asked to retire or they've reached that retirement age are not really your concerns. So tell me, how have you
absolutely.
how have you been occupying your time then?
Well, what I have been doing, even though I haven't been working full time, I have been doing some work. I did a little bit of contracting work, got myself involved in a few businesses in terms of maybe a little startup, trying to get it off the ground. Um, and also as well, I've reskilled myself because working in IT, there had been significant changes in the way IT works.
Mhm.
5 years ago, probably yourself, probably other people haven't never heard anything about the cloud.
Right.
Now,
Yes. Yes.
now most people have heard about the cloud,
Yes.
even if they may not know what it is apart from something in the sky. But from an IT industry perspective,
Mhm.
there have been significant and wholesale changes. So how that affects people working in IT? Well, for me, for myself, I had to re-engineer my skills or have to reskill myself. So part of the time out was studying the new way of working in IT, the cloud technology,
Right.
and acquiring certifications. So
Yes.
it's been a combination of work-related activity, but also maybe a bit of self yeah, work related activity, but also reskilling myself and also keeping myself busy by still doing things such as exercise on a regular basis and trying to also to using all that to basically look after myself from a health perspective, which is probably one of the reasons I wouldn't bother going, I wouldn't be returning back to full-time employment because I'm a diabetic, but I also have to, but I, as part of it, I had to try and manage my condition, my type 1 diabetes, as much as possible to look after my health. As I say, there's this saying, which is your health is your wealth. So, um, maybe 10 years ago, it was less significant. Now it's more significant. And obviously, as one gets older as well, there's other ailments which may come along as the years go on. But I think I still have something to offer to the world, to the employment world in terms of IT skills. So yes, it's my intention to look for or to secure a part-time role, but not a
Right.
full-time one. Something of my choice.
Yes. And that is the thing, really. I mean, you talk about health, you talk about getting older. And yes, when we were younger, certain things to do with health wasn't even a consideration. Even if you did have a condition, you could manage it within work. But as we get older, it seems as if and because work, I think, has become more demanding as well, I think it's really difficult to sort of manage health issues within the working environment, especially if you're going to work full time. So, anyways, just
Yes.
sort of like,
There is a yes, there is a lot of talk these days around the world of work lifestyle balance. And I think
yeah,
with the pandemic and the enforcement of having to uh, work from home and work remotely, I think that's just brought to the forefront people who are perhaps reevaluating how they work rather than spending many hours in the office. They are trying to strive for more a work lifestyle balance. For
yeah, and
myself,
yes, I do believe that we do need to have a work-life
yeah,
balance,
I
and
mean, for
even young
myself, the
people.
company I worked for, um, I worked from home. So working from home when the pandemic came wasn't something which was new to me because BT, who I worked for, and even before that, other companies, they had an element of working from home, but these companies were firmly in the IT arena,
Yeah,
whereas now working from home is probably extend to other other workspaces which aren't anything to do with IT because the technology is there.
yes. Okay. Well, before we wrap up, I just, really want to say, is there anything that we could say to, people who are considering retiring? Have you got anything that you want to particularly say? I know you're not retired, but
Yeah,
maybe you
yeah.
might be.
I would say keep a routine. Even when I stopped working full time, I was still getting up at around 7:30, 8 o'clock. I still did things to keep myself active. As I said, my skill set, getting involved in even a little bit of property work.
Mhm.
That's also fulfill my time. And and there are other activities. And I think is a case of is keeping a routine, doing something that you want to do. At the moment, for the last few months, I've been working as a volunteer for the Citizens Advice Bureau within the IT workspace.
Mhm.
So for me, it helps me to keep my skills
Yes.
active. And also for them, as a volunteer worker, they get someone who can add value to their IT
Yeah.
environment,
Yes.
and someone that has got something to offer them.
Yes.
And for that, I think is a case of if there's a mutual benefit here. I'm not the only person within IT who's working there as a volunteer. But I felt that, well, okay, I weren't actually working in a part-time environment, in a fee earning environment at the moment. So why not perhaps volunteer some of my skills to some organizations that probably wouldn't really be able to afford those
Yes.
skills because they are a charity as
Yes.
opposed to being a city company or multinational corporate business.
Yes.
And it's worked well. I think they have benefited from my skills there. So that is what I would advise to anyone. Keep a routine, find something that you want to do,
Yes.
and don't just sit there and perhaps, think, oh, what shall I do today?
Yes, I
Come up with a
totally
plan.
agree with you. Actually, I mean, I as well. I do a exercise regime, and I've just started doing this. And I do find that if you keep a routine, keep yourself active. Because I've only just recently retired. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
we are going
I
to
mean, I've even stumbled across a website
oh
that is aimed at the over 50s,
yes.
and it gives them lots of
What's
ideas
the name of the
and
website?
advice. Rest less. Rest
Restless.
less.
RESTLESS.
Precisely. Yep.
Okay, so restless.
And
So guys, if looking for something to do, look at that website, Restless.
that's
Okay.
how I found the volunteer role.
Ah, right. Okay. Well, Jeff, it's been lovely speaking to you about your experience, and I hope, viewers, that you will find that, really useful. You'll find something useful. You'll benefit somehow from it. And
Yep.
yes, we're going to sign off now. So just wishing you a blessed day. Don't let anybody steal your joy. This is Missymak, over, not out.
Thank you.